Hey guys, I hope you're having a great start to your day. Wanted to pop on and tell you this. Sometimes the quote unquote judgment in our personal lives doesn't have to come through God bringing judgment. Sometimes the judgment is God allows us of our own free will to make choices that directly go against his plan. And it never benefits us when we pick our own way above God's way in our personal lives. It only hurts us in the long run. I can't tell you how many times I have seen individuals, do something that directly went against God's will over their personal lives, where they settled or where they never stepped out on a God promise in their personal lives, simply because they were tired of waiting, simply because, they were in a place of fear, simply because XYZ, pick something, right? And so they made decisions based on a place of desperation, based on a place of fear. They never ran things by God in their personal lives. And as a result, they went through a lot of unnecessary heartache and pain that if they had just gone with God's decision and run things by him and did things his way in the first place, they wouldn't have had to experience a lot of that in their personal lives. And so I just wanted to pop on in to remind you guys today that we reap what we sow. Amen. And when we are faced with decisions in our personal lives where we have a choice between picking our way and what seems right in our natural minds and what seems like it's going to really appeal to our flesh versus doing things God's way and the way that he's leading and directing us, I want to tell you guys that your way, our way, a lot of the times will be instant gratification to our flesh. Amen. It may seem like it's the best route at the time, but ultimately in the long run, it only hurts us. Amen. I want to remind you guys today that God only tells you no when he's got a better yes for you down the line. Amen. And so when we try to force our will over situations rather than asking God what his will is and going with his way and waiting on his timing, his purposes, and his plans for our lives, the natural result is we reap what we sow. And usually that's a lot more heartache than he ever intended for us to have to go through in our personal lives. Sometimes we can get ourselves in some really sticky situations simply because we chose to go with our way rather than waiting on the Lord, listening for his direction and going with his plans and his purposes for our life. So I want to tell you guys today, God only tells you no in an area of your life when he's trying to protect you and when he's got a much better yes for you down the line. Amen. Impulse decisions feel good to our flesh, ladies and gents, but ultimately they hurt you down the line. I want you guys to think about the place of discipline. A Christian life is supposed to be a disciplined life. And I don't think anybody particularly enjoys that word, right? But discipline is doing now what's going to benefit you later. Amen. And usually when we fall into a place of sin in our personal lives, it's doing what we want to right now that will cause us to trip up later. Amen. And so we've got to kind of shift our mindset here and to know that God sees your future. He sees things that are going to happen, 10 or 20 years down the line in your life. And so if he is telling you no over a thing right now, it's because he sees your future. He sees things that you don't see. Amen. And it's not because he's trying to torture you or withhold good things from you. It's because he's trying to protect you for his very best in your personal life, ladies and gents. And so I just want to encourage you guys today, don't get ahead of God. Amen. And also don't pick your own way over God's way in your personal life. One of the number one ways that God will speak to us, in our personal lives is if you feel a lack of peace in your decisions, I can almost guarantee you that's not God. If you're feeling confusion over a situation, I can almost guarantee that's not God. Amen. The devil's voice is a voice that rushes us. He moves us through a place of fear. A lot of times we'll feel anxiety regarding a decision, like we've got to know the answer right now, right? But God's voice is a peaceful voice. His voice is a calming voice. He leads us. He reassures us. He guides us. Amen. And so you need to look at the fruit of the voice that you've been listening to in your personal life. Amen. And it's always okay to pause if you're unsure about a situation. Bring it to the Lord in prayer and say, God, I need discernment on this. Amen. And I feel like it's in that icky transition place that we make decisions quickly and in our flesh a lot of the time. that can really derail us. You know, the hardest and most testing time of your walk is right now, where so many of you guys are at. When you're in transition, God has told you that you're leaving one place and going to another place, but it's not quite time to step over. You've got a glimpse of the promise, but the door hasn't quite opened yet. It's in that place of, you know, impatience, and where you're really struggling in the place where you're currently at, because you know you're not called to stay there much longer. It's in that place of frustration where if you move too quickly, and if you move outside of God's timing before he transitions you, that you can make really impulsive and not good decisions that can really mess you up down the line. And I know that so many of you guys are in a place of transition right now. So I just want to encourage you guys, don't get ahead of God's timing today. Don't pick your will because you're so frustrated and fed up with where you're at that you make a decision in the moment that's very impulsive that God hasn't told you to step into yet. Listen to me, when God opens a door in your life, you're going to know it's a God door. Amen. He helps you to step through these open doors. Amen. He leads you. He guides you. Amen. And, you know, it's usually decisions that we make in haste out of a place of fear, out of a place of impatience that can really mess us up down the line. And in some cases, it can cause you to miss the God opportunity that he's trying to line up for you. So have some patience today. I know it's tough. Breathe. Amen. Breathe in the place of frustration. Amen. Bring this stuff to God and trust that he's got a good plan for you. And at the right time, he will open doors and transition you in your personal life. At the right time, that door will open. Just be patient and surrender to him. Amen. You know, he may tell you where you're going, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's time to move right this second. Let him transition you through that open door. Amen. And if a voice is talking to you through a place of fear, through a place of confusion or frustration, all of that stuff, there's a good chance that thing or that opportunity was not sent from the Lord. Wait on him, even if the place that you're in right now seems like it's a little bit hard to stay in, and let God transition you into the next thing. Amen. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll chat with you again soon.